This weekend, it was The Mummy versus Wonder Woman. Did Tom Cruise prove a match for the amazing Amazon? I'm DJ Woldridge, and this is Screen Junkies News. Like a wealthy pharaoh locked away in his gilded tomb, sometimes it's better to just let a good thing lie, instead of cracking it open again just to be tormented by a giant face made of malevolent sand, or lose a ton of money on a blockbuster revival no one asked for. That may be what Universal is thinking after The Mummy opened to a tepid $32 million box office, which is lower than the domestic openings of every Brendan Fraser Mummy movie and the Scorpion King spinoff. But they may not be thinking that at all, because internationally it dominated, making $142 million. So what do you know, right? It doesn't matter what movies you see anymore. Meanwhile, audiences are still over the moon with Wonder Woman, which is the ticket sale titan for a second week in a row, and even posted a better second weekend than both Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. Here to discuss this epic battle for box office dollars is Danielle Radford.
Hello.
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 So Wonder Woman dominating.
Yeah,
Wonder Woman did great this weekend. It's actually arguably the best second week opening of any of the modern superhero films, just behind Spider-Man 2002.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking. It dropped down. Not a whole bunch. It only dropped down 43%, which is great.
Yes.
It beat the other DC movies second weekend. So it beat Batman vs Superman second weekend. It beat Suicide Squad second weekend.
Yeah, and those movies open bigger than Wonder Woman. So people are coming back for second helpings with this one.
That's true. I've known a lot of people who, and this is anecdotal evidence, so it's not really evidence. So I'm wasting all of our time. But I've known a lot of people who have gone back and seen Wonder Woman 2 and 3 times now.
Yes. So, and that's going to keep happening. And we already know that Wonder Woman's going to be #1 next week. No, we don't know that. I'm sorry. That's a complete fabrication. It was going up against the big Tom Cruise release, which was The Mummy, which Universal's just putting a lot of emphasis on the dark universe. They're trying to make it happen. They're trying to get us all on board. And so far, not so good. So far, not really working out for them.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because originally, a few weeks back, it was projected to open with a $40 million opening, and everyone was like, "Oh!" And then that was dropped down to a $35 million opening, and then the "oh" got even lower, or even worse. And so then I want to say it was this morning, it was reported that it made 32, and then they said, no, hey, just kidding. It opened at 31 mil.
It's almost, I just feel bad for all of them. Like,
kind of.
Maybe somebody go see The Mummy.
Well, but people did. Internationally, people totally saw it. Like in South Korea, it was the biggest movie of the year. It's like the biggest movie that Tom Cruise has ever been in. It was the biggest Universal movie. It did crazy good out in South Korea.
And this isn't the first time we've heard of this happening, because the Pirates did exceptionally well internationally as well, even though critics were not having it over here. Internationally, it did great. Before we jump into the more international numbers, let's go over the actual box office. At #1, we have Wonder Woman. We talked about that. It made $57.2 million domestically. Then we have The Mummy, which is $32.2 million. Underneath that is Captain Underpants, which I've heard is amazing for what it's trying to do, is $12.3 million. Then Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And coming in at #6 was my favorite movie of the weekend, which was It Comes at Night, which got $6 million. And if you kind of want a more thoughtful horror movie, I say maybe check that out.
Yeah, that sounded really good. I've heard that It Comes at Night was really great. I'm glad that it was able to kind of slide into that top 10. Captain Underpants was kind of surprising. And then we talked about it off camera because we're friends. And we talked about it, and you'd mentioned how you know, that's a really easy one for people who maybe feel that Wonder Woman's a little too scary for their little one. Now they still have a movie they can bring their kids to. And
every time we say Captain Underpants, I giggle a little bit on my insides.
Just a little bit,
because it's fun to say. So #5 on the list, for excuse me, Pirates of the Caribbean, also not super well received here, but internationally also did a lot of money. Why is that? Why is it that there's these movies internationally that people are like, but internationally they do great?
You know, I think a lot of it is there's just so much big spectacle that comes when you get these movies that are made in the U.S. We will spend just a lot of money, just like a lot of money to make a movie look ridiculously good. And that's part of it. And now, you know, that folks are kind of getting an idea to start catering to that international market.
Yeah.
You get a lot more movies where the writing is done in such a way that it's easy to be able to make a 1-1 translation. And so that combined with, you know, with pirates, you're also getting that physical humor of a Johnny Depp, right? You're getting those huge pirate scenes. You're getting those massive set pieces.
Yeah.
With The Mummy, you know, you're getting Tom Cruise running. That works in any language.
That does. Everybody loves Tom Cruise.
Everybody
running.
knows what a Tom Cruise run looks like and feels like, and
He's
what
the
that
best
says.
at it.
He is. He kills it at the running. You get these big, huge spectacles. Again, just all of the money we're throwing into these movies to make them look great. And then the fact that you can take these action movies and just easily translate them so that anyone, you know, there's not a whole lot of like, it's not translating Shakespeare. Not that these movies are like terribly written, just that like there isn't a lot of,
you know, a little more basic.
Yeah, it's not a lot of, you know, metaphor and idioms and these things that you're trying to really make sure make sense overseas. And I do think that some writers are starting to write with an idea that, hey, that overseas market is important, and that overseas market is keeping a lot of these studios propped up.
I guess in some ways it's a catch-22, because on the one side it's kind of depressing to think about that, like, hey, let's write it a little more basic, let's focus more on the spectacle side of things than say maybe character development, just so it's easier to translate. But on the reverse side, because movies do well more internationally, we get movies like The Great Wall that like a good chunk of that is in Chinese, and we've got a more diverse cast. And I think every movie benefits from more diversity, telling more different types of stories.
Right.
And so if we're catering to a more international audience, I think that can benefit. I mean, I guess you're not really seeing that in a Tom Cruise led film, that diversity, but you know what I'm getting at.
There's some in there, yeah.
So maybe that's a positive that could come out of this. Focusing more on international stuff. Now, looking at this top 10, is there anything that stands out to you? Is there anything what do you feel when you look at it?
Well, the Baywatch is at number 10, or sorry, is at number 7.
It might as well be at number 10. I mean, you know, why not?
It's still, you know what? Baywatch still made more money than I did this year.
So you know what? That's a fair point.
Still made more money than I did this year. We've got Megan Levy, which that's another movie where if you're looking for something that isn't quite, because if you look at a lot of these movies, you got Wonder Woman, The Mummy, Captain Underpants, Pirates of the Caribbean, Alien. Really, like there's Baywatch, but that still kind of feels like a big summer movie when you look at the cast. And then there's Everything, and like I think Everything and Megan Levy are two of the kind of smaller, like, hey, I want to go watch a non-huge summer blockbuster movie. So those are ones that people can see if they're looking for other options.
Yeah, and I'm also glad movies like that, and It Comes at Night, can actually crack the top 10.
Yes.
That it's not all like mega blockbusters. And so that's your box office for this week. We're excited to see what is happening next week. Thank you,
first big summer week. Yeah, first big week in summer. Let's see where we go.
Thank you, Danielle, for joining me. Please let us know in the comments down below what you thought about the box office. What movie deserves more love than it's getting? Let us know in the comments down below. Remember to be nice to each other. Thanks for watching, and please click here for more videos. Tweet us at SJ News, and make sure to subscribe to SJ News. Thank you. Bye-bye.